Have you ever heard of a real-life superhero? Someone who risked their own life time and time again, not for fame or fortune, but for the freedom of others. Today, we're talking about one of American history's most extraordinary figures, Harriet Tubman. This isn't just a story from a textbook. It's a tale of incredible courage, resilience, and an unbreakable spirit. Born into the brutal reality of slavery in Maryland around 1822, Harriet, originally named Araminta Ross, knew nothing but hardship from her earliest days. Imagine being considered property, with your family, your time, and your very body belonging to someone else. As a child, she suffered a severe head injury when an overseer threw a heavy metal weight, intending to hit another enslaved person. This injury caused her to have lifelong headaches, seizures, and vivid visions, which she believed were messages from God. This profound faith would become the bedrock of her strength and her guide in the darkest of times. The desire for freedom burned in Harriet's heart. In 1849, after learning she and her brothers were about to be sold, she decided she couldn't wait any longer. She was going to be free or die trying. Her first attempt with her brothers didn't succeed, as they got scared and turned back. But Harriet was determined. Alone, she set off again, traveling nearly 90 miles through the wilderness, guided by the North Star and her unwavering faith. She later said, "When I found I had crossed that line, I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person. There was such a glory over everything. The sun came like gold through the trees and over the fields, and I felt like I was in heaven." But reaching freedom wasn't enough for Harriet. She couldn't enjoy her own liberty while her family and countless others remained in chains. This is where her legend truly begins. She became the most famous and successful conductor on the Underground Railroad. Now, the Underground Railroad wasn't an actual train or a tunnel. It was a secret network of brave people, both black and white, free and enslaved, who offered shelter and aid to escaping slaves. These safe houses were called stations, the guides were conductors, and the fugitives were passengers. It was a system built on trust, whispers, and immense courage. Harriet Tubman made an estimated 13 trips back into the slave-holding South over a decade. Think about that. She willingly walked back into the very danger she had escaped, over and over again. The risks were enormous. Slave catchers were everywhere, and the bounty on her head grew with each successful mission, reportedly reaching as high as $40,000, staggering sum at the time. She was a master of disguise, sometimes dressing as an old woman, other times as a man. She knew the secret paths, the woods, and the waterways like the back of her hand. She often traveled at night, during the winter, when the nights were longer and people were more likely to be indoors. They called her Moses because, like the biblical figure, she led her people to a promised land of freedom. She guided her family, including her elderly parents, and an estimated 70 other enslaved people to the north and to Canada, which had abolished slavery. Her rules were strict because one mistake could mean death or re-enslavement for everyone. She famously carried a pistol, not to harm anyone, but to make it clear that there was no turning back. If someone got scared and wanted to give up, she would tell them, "You'll be free or die." It sounds harsh, but she knew that a runaway who returned would be forced to betray the secrets of the railroad, endangering everyone. Incredibly, in all her years as a conductor, Harriet Tubman proudly stated, "I never ran my train off the track, and I never lost a passenger, not one." When the Civil War broke out, Harriet's fight for freedom took on a new dimension. She didn't just sit on the sidelines. She served the Union Army as a cook, a nurse, and most remarkably, as an armed scout and spy. Her knowledge of the Southern terrain and her ability to build trust with local enslaved people were invaluable. In 1863, she became the first woman to lead an armed expedition in the war. She guided the Combahee River Raid in South Carolina, a mission that disrupted enemy supply lines and, most importantly, liberated more than 750 enslaved people. She was a soldier, a strategist, and a liberator, all in one. Even after the war and the abolition of slavery with the 13th Amendment, Harriet's work was far from over. She settled in Auburn, New York, but she didn't retire. She dedicated the rest of her long life to caring for others. She worked tirelessly for the aid and education of formerly enslaved people, helping them adjust to their new lives. She was also a passionate advocate for women's suffrage, fighting for a woman's right to vote. She worked alongside famous suffragists like Susan B. Anthony, arguing that if she had earned the right to fight and spy for her country, she had surely earned the right to vote. Despite her heroic deeds and her fame, Harriet lived in poverty for much of her later life. It took years of fighting for her to receive a small pension for her military service. Yet, her generosity never wavered. Her final project was establishing the Harriet Tubman Home for the Aged, a facility to care for elderly and poor Black people, which she opened on her own property. She passed away in 1913 at around 91 years old, surrounded by friends and family. Her reported last words were, "I go to prepare a place for you." Harriet Tubman's story is more than just a historical account. It's a powerful testament to what one determined person can achieve against impossible odds. She was a woman who turned her own suffering into a source of strength, her own escape into a pathway for hundreds. She shows us the true meaning of courage, not the absence of fear, but acting in spite of it. Her legacy is a reminder that the fight for justice and equality requires action, sacrifice, and an unshakable belief in a better world. She remains a symbol of freedom and resilience, a true American icon whose story continues to inspire millions around the globe. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the life of the incredible Harriet Tubman. If you found this story as moving and inspiring as we do, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history's most fascinating figures. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.